What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade. And when it comes to farming legendary difficulty in the summit, which is a great way to get some really high-end gear, I happen to bounce between a few different builds. I have a skill build or two skill builds that I put out a few weeks ago. And I also have a few tank builds that I bounce in between as well, depending on if I'm playing solo or in a group. Now, the build I'm showing you today is great because you can use this in a group or playing solo. It has high survivability. You can see here you are a complete and total bullet sponge, so I wanted to share it with you today. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. Make sure you turn on those notifications. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. And remember, we are currently having a giveaway for a PlayStation 5. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced on October 2nd of this year. So the footage you're looking at is from earlier today, and the main reason I bring that up is to let the squad leader, King Colds, I wanted to let you know I got dealt it on floor 89. I did not bail, so I just wanted to make sure you understood I did not take off from the group. I get dealt it out, so hopefully I did not screw stuff up for you. As always, we're starting off with a little bit of gameplay footage, then I'm going to get into the build breakdown, and then at the end of the video, some more footage, and at that point, I like to pass along a few tips and tricks to new and returning players, which should hopefully help you out anytime you're trying out a new build. Starting off with the specialization, I'm using Technician for two main reasons, really. First of all, you get an extra 12% damage to drone skill proxies and robotics, and that really comes into play when you're playing on Legendary. And secondly, it's going to give you the ability to use the Artificer or Artificer Hive. I always forget how to say it, or I just get confused at this very moment. Anyway, that Hive is going to really help you with your shield survivability, and remember, regardless of which specialization you choose, always have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're going to get a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which weapon you're using. So for this build, I pretty much use my handgun 99% of the time. So therefore, for these first two weapons, put here whatever you want. I mean, I'm using a FAMAS with a Talon Close and Personal, and I also have a Banshee with a Talon Preservation. However, this is really up to you and your game style for these first two weapons. I do recommend having on at least one of the weapons the Talon Close and Personal, because killing an enemy within 7 meters is going to give you a 30% weapon damage bonus for 10 seconds, and that can really help you out. And as we make our way to the sidearm, this is the only piece in the build that actually has to be crafted. It's the Liberty Pistol. Now, if you don't have that, well, first of all, if you have the Regulus, you definitely want to use that. And if you don't have either of those weapons, I recommend using a D50 with the Talon Close and Personal, because with a build like this, you're pretty much always in the face of the NPC. Now, as far as the other two guns, we know the Regulus is a raid exclusive. However, the Liberty is a quest item that anyone can craft once they've completed a few things in the game, and this goes back to when you first complete the Capitol building at the very beginning. So again, if you have any questions on how to get it, please let me know, and my goal is to put a video on how to get their Liberty together by next week. And for those of you that already have the weapon, you can always give it to someone else who doesn't. Obviously, you have to have your targeted loot set to handguns, but you can always give it to a person who doesn't have it as yet, and once you do, it is then in their general loot pool as well. Now, as far as the rest of the gear goes for this build, it's all in the general loot pool, so anyone can pick this up at any time. I recommend hitting up Countdown, setting your loot to either Foundry or any of the other pieces that are in this build. So starting off with the mask, it's the first piece of Foundry, and we're running 4 so we get all of the gear set bonuses. Now, on all of these pieces, I am trying to stack Armor Regen and Protection from Elites. Now, those Protection from Elite mods seem to be like pretty much unicorns. However, they are definitely worth the grind. They really do help you out, especially in Legendary content. Now, moving on to the body armor, it's the second piece of Foundry, and I'm using the chest piece because that increases makeshift repairs from 20% to 30%. So whenever you're in a situation on Legendary where you're taking heat from all sides, having that extra 10% is extremely beneficial. Moving on to the holster, we're using the named Richter and Kaiser the Forge because it gives you a 50% shield health bonus, and once again, and this goes for the knee pads and the gloves as well, but I'm rolling with Armor Regen as my second attribute with the knee pads and the gloves. They are the two remaining pieces of the Foundry gear set. Again, Armor Regen as many places as you can. It really helps out. I mean, you saw in the footage, and you'll see in the footage at the end of the video, you're pretty much a bullet sponge with this thing. Now, we make our way to the backpack, and this, my friends, is again one of those pieces where you have so many different options. So on this version, I'm using a piece of Bellstone, gives me 1% Armor Regen, and I'm using the Talent Adrenaline Rush. However, you can use the Memento if you wound up using the actual Foundry backpack. You could then swap out your face mask, your gloves, or your knee pads to something else. I have a version where I'm using the Punch Drunk face mask, or I have a different version where I'm using Contractor's gloves. Again, find something that works for your game style. Now, going back to the Memento, That's definitely a great choice as well, but two things. First of all, I suck with a handgun, so my time to kill is very slow with this build, so if I have adrenaline rush going, I always know I'm getting that extra armor. Now for the skills themselves, I'm using the Bulwark Shield combined with the Artificer Hive, Artificer, whatever, don't judge, and the two of those together pretty much keep you alive in every situation you may encounter. One thing I always recommend to people who are just jumping into Legendary is if you keep your back to the wall, you should be good to go. And as I start to wrap this video up, I really recommend for those of you just jumping into Legendary difficulty is start off in the Summit. It is much easier than the Strongholds. This will give you an idea of the type of builds you want to put together, and more importantly, give you a determination of what changes you want to make the build your own. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about having the channel is the family that we have here, so if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know, as the main goal here is to try to help out as many people as we can. With all that being said, I want to take a moment as always and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel. I really hope you enjoy this build. Like, it's so much fun. I mean, if you look at the screen now, I'm reviving someone who's down, I'm getting smacked around with a mallet, look at my extra armor, look at my shield health, it's barely being, touched at all, so again, this is a great build for those of you just jumping into Legendary. Over the next few weeks, it's going to be a very busy time at the channel. We have a lot to look forward to in the Division universe, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, whatever it is, please let me know in the section down below and I will get back to you as quick as I can. On that note, I'm going to let the rest of the video play out. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.